Hey, good evening, everybody. So for my final report, the research topic that I decided to look into was, is there a correlation between educational attainment and the age bracket that you fall in? And to set the stage for this, and the reason I actually ended up choosing this is I know that there is a correlation between income level and also your educational attainment. So I actually have two charts I'd like to show real quick in this. And the first one to set the stage is one of the poverty rate for those 25 years and over based on their educational attainment. All right, cool. Hopefully my screen is sharing. But so if you can look at this, it starts off with, less than a high school graduate, and then their probability, if that is the maximum education they attain, aka they don't even get a high school degree, they have on average a risk of about 22%. It looks like, sorry, 23% risk of poverty. Then it moves down as you get your high school degree or an equivalent. Then you have about 13% chance of poverty, and then it steps down even farther as you reach some college associate's degree and the bachelor's degree and higher. And I wanted to show this first because it helps highlight kind of why I chose this, because then as I move on, and one of the key charts I use in my report is actually bachelor's degree or higher. So this is the percentage of the population that attains it. And then for me personally, I chose to look at Arkansas, Iowa, Kansas, and Missouri, simply because I'm from here in Missouri, and those are the three closest states to me that I go to regularly. So I thought it'd be a nice little subset to look at the educational attainment level of the Midwest. So when I was looking at this with the bachelor's degree or higher, I was kind of theorizing in my head that most likely the younger generations should have a higher attainment level, just because one, college is really pushed for that 25 to 34-year-old age bracket, as well as the fact that up till maybe the last 40 years, we'll go back to the 80s, you could get a lot done, have a good well-paying manufacturing job or working on farmland, and you didn't need to have much of an education at all. I had quite a few family members that worked in factories, and they were still able to raise and support families. But I was just very curious to see, and the thesis I had held true about the fact that the younger generations, for example, 25 to 34 years old, and then the 35 to 40-year-olds, do have a higher percentage attainment rate for a bachelor's degree as opposed to those that are 45 to 64 years old and the 65 and over category. Because as you can see on the graph, it trends down. Specifically, like Arkansas, this blue line has the worst, and then Kansas somehow has the highest. And Missouri fits right in there in between. But one of the things I would then like to look into is, because I touched on the poverty relationship to educational attainment at the beginning of this, I would love to dig deeper and see how that relates through specific geographical regions within both the states. And then also if there is potentially a racial or ethnic demographic factor that plays a role into this too. If say, like white people are more commonly going to be educated opposed to say like Native Americans or blacks. So I think that'd be another intriguing thing to see if there is then, kind of a cascade effect, if it makes that, certain groups are, what was I going to say? Where there's other factors besides just like a geographical region and age that play into it. Because that's kind of the two key points with this, is it's looking at the Midwest and it's based on age. I'd like to see if there are factors such as, race that play into it, or also the poverty level that you grew up in, if it's kind of a feeding factor, such as, if you grow up in a more impoverished environment, if that already has you handicapped, that you're less likely to achieve higher education, which is one of the ways to step out of poverty itself. So thanks everyone for listening to this video, and I hope you've all have good success on your final projects.